Hello and welcome to ALCA's Aging Life Care Moment. In this series, we talk to different aging life care professionals to hear how they got started, the value of ALCA membership, and ways to diversify in different areas. Today, we are talking with Jamie Spielberg, owner at Compassionate Elder Care Solutions. Jamie, tell us, how did you get started and how long have you been practicing care management?
Sure. Hi, Courtney. So thank you for having me, first of all. So even as a little kid, I always wanted to help people and make a difference. I was small in stature, so I used to get picked on a lot. And I always said to myself, you know what, when I grow up, I want to help people who are in trouble, who like me are weak and need help from somebody. So I got to college, and unlike a lot of my friends who weren't sure what they wanted to major in, I knew I wanted to major in psychology. And I did that. I got a BA, Bachelor of Arts in Psychology, with a minor in sociology. And of course, I also took a bunch of business courses because you never know, you might need that in any business. So I graduated college, and I thought I was going to go into social work, thought I was going to get my master's. But 2 weeks later, I got a job offer. And financially, it was one of those things where it was very difficult to say no. So I accepted the job. And 30 years later, I was still doing the same thing. I was helping people financially. I was helping them be more successful. I was helping them to increase their earnings, but I really wasn't doing what I think I was born to do, and that's to help people. So I made a decision. I want to go into the healthcare field. I don't know how I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do it. So a friend of mine who worked for Sunrise at the time told me about an executive director who was working in another building, and he was looking for a DCR, a director of community relations. And I said to myself, this might be a good segue into the healthcare field. So I took the job hoping that I would be dealing with people and helping families and talking to families, but instead it became a sales job, just like I was doing for the past 30 years. So 10 months later, I made a decision. I'm leaving. So I left, and I formulated my own company called Compassionate Elder Care Solutions. I had a friend who worked for a place for mom, and she was very, very successful. But what I didn't like about the way that they worked was that they were doing this from phone. So they only had phone contact, they never had live contact. I actually wanted to hold people's hand. I wanted to take them through the entire process of either staying home with home care or having to move to an assisted living or a nursing home. But I wanted to hold their hand, take them to these communities, show them the pluses and minuses of what they were, and move them into the right place for their family that would be affordable for them. So I did that, and I was very successful. And a year or two later, my wife at the time, who was an elder law attorney, said, Jamie, you know what? You're really successful at what you're doing here, but you could be even more successful if you started doing Medicaid applications. So I started doing Medicaid applications. I was still helping families, but I was not doing exactly what I wanted. I really wanted to be more in touch with the families and really make more of a difference. So I did some studying on the web, and I found out there was an organization called the NAPGCM, the National Association of Professional Geriatric Care Managers. So I contacted them, and they gave me the name and phone number of a woman by the name of Marcy Cooper. Marcy Cooper spoke to me on the phone for over an hour, and I was so excited by that phone call that she invited me to their next meeting. I went to their next meeting about a week later. I met some really nice people. And at that time, you're lucky if you had 6 or 7 members attend a meeting. But I really fell in love with the group, and Marcy really made a difference. And I actually joined the association 3 days later. And that was back in, I believe, July of 2007. So I joined the organization. I was very successful. I met some good people, but I still wasn't doing what I wanted. And Marcy knew that. And Marcy said to me, Jamie, you really need to be a case manager. That's really what you wanted to do when you told me that you wanted to go into social work. She said, I can help you do that. So about a year and a half, 2 years later, I got my certification from NACM. I became a certified case manager, and my whole world opened up. I was so happy. I started getting cases and I started doing exactly what I wanted to do 30 years, 40 years before that. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So I'm very happy at where I am at this time in my life.
What an amazing journey that you just described. That's incredible. And you're leading to the next question of when did you join the now called Aging Life Care Association? But tell us also what's your experience been with membership with the ALCA, with the Aging Life Care Association?
Well, ever since I went to that first meeting, I could probably count on one hand how many meetings that I've missed over the past 14 years. So I'm one of those people, once I get my teeth into something, I stay there forever. So I was a member for 14 years. Well, this is going back about 5 or 6 years ago. I finally got the courage to do something that I had wanted to do for a couple of years, and that is join the board. So I did that. I became a member on the board. I was in charge of finances, and I did that for 4 years. And then at the end of the tenure of me for our board, because our board was ending, and then a new board was going to be chosen, Elise Weber Sachs, who was the president at the time, after being 4 years on the board, she said to me, "You know what, Jamie, you've been with us a long time now. I think maybe it's time for you to be president." And I said, "Oh my God, president?" I like it totally blew me away. I mean, I've known Elise ever since I joined. I love Elise. I respect her. And to have a person of that stature ask me to become president, oh my God, I got so emotional. You have absolutely no idea. The problem was is that since I'm a sole practitioner, there's a huge workload because thank God I'm very successful at what I do between placement, between case management, and between Medicaid applications. I don't have anybody else to rely on to get the work done that needs to get done. So I was really worried about that. So Elise came back to me a couple of days later and said, "You know what? I think I have an idea that will help you." She said, "I spoke to Annette Murphy, who's the secretary on our board at the same time, and she agreed to be co-president with you if you wanted to do that." So we did it. So we both became co-president 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago. And I got to tell you, it has worked out so successfully. I cannot tell you. I mean, we are both on the same page. We both share the workload. And I think we've done a really admirable job at being co-presidents in the organization. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great plug for, the sense of doing volunteer work, but then how you can share that by being co-president or sharing those responsibilities to, to manage your business and work, volunteer work with the association. Well, this month it's Men's Health Awareness Month. We're focusing on the men of ALCA, but we're also focusing this whole year on, really looking at diversity and how we can diversify the Aging Life Care Association. Jamie, I'd love to hear your ideas and your thoughts on how we can continue to do that and bring the spotlight to this career to other people.
Well, first of all, I do recognize that as a co-president, it's my responsibility to do what I can in order to bring more diversity to our chapter, both people of color and obviously to bring more men. If you look at the National Association of Social Workers, as a percentage, they have a lot more men and people of color in their organization than we do. So the question is, why are we not duplicating what they have done? They probably have a ways to go also, but certainly they're a lot closer to the goal of full diversity, including people of color and men, than certainly we are. So I think it's up to us as chapter members every time that we go out in the field, every time we see a man, every time we see a person of color in another organization or in the National Association of Social Workers, to speak to these people. Let them know that we exist, that there's another world out there to join, to be members, and to bring everything that they've learned to our organization. The best way to do that is as a co-president is for me to reach out to my chapter using the listserv. letting them know what our board is looking for out of them, letting them know what national is looking for out of them, because we can't do it alone. As a chapter president, I could only reach so many people. But if I have 89 members in my chapter, that's 89 people that could be looking at people in different organizations, letting them know what ALCA is all about, and recruiting these people to come on board. Really, that's the only way that I can think of, or the most successful way to bring more people of diversity and men into the field. I mean, just because you're a guy, it doesn't mean that you don't belong in an organization like this. As far as I'm concerned, the most important aspect of a person that you need to become a member of ALCA is you have to have a big heart. So it doesn't matter if you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're tall, if you're short, it doesn't matter. As long as you care about people, you have love in your heart, and you can do something and want to do something to help other individuals. That's really all it takes. That's my answer.
What great words to finish up on. So thank you so much for your time today, Jamie. We really appreciate it. Thank you again.
Oh, Courtney, it's absolutely my pleasure. Thank you so much, and I wish you a great day.
Thanks.